Yes, we are off from Lima to Ethiopia. I have not personally been there, but I'm planning on going in the future. We are at Axum, where there are many obelisks. The obelisk, properly termed a stele, or in the local languages, a tigr- tigrinia, as well as in church language, geas, is found along with many other stelae in the city of Axum in modern-day Ethiopia. The stelae were probably carved and erected during the 4th century CE, maybe, by subjects of the kingdom of Axum in an ancient Ethiopian civilization. Erection of stelae in Axum was a very old practice and possibly much, much older than what standard academics say, but the standard story is it was done from the Cushitic kingdom of Meroe. Their function, supposedly, was to be that of markers for underground burial chambers, but they look very megalithic to me, and they're made of very hard granitic stone, which would be very difficult to shape in the 4th century CE. The largest of the grave markers, so-called, were for burial chambers and were decorated with multi-story false windows and false doors for some strange reason, while lesser nobility would have had smaller, less decorated ones. While there are only a few large ones standing, there are hundreds of smaller ones in various stelae fields. The last stele erected in Axum was probably the so-called King Azana stele, again supposedly in the 4th century of the current era. King Azana, who lived from 321, or probably ruled from 321 to 360 in the current era, influenced by his childhood tutor Frumentius, introduced Christianity to Axum, precluding the pagan practice of erecting burial stela, or at least that's what they say. But again, notice the sheer scale of these and the fact that some are broken. Over the course of time, many of these stelae fell to the ground due to, possibly, structural collapse, maybe, possibly immediately after their erection, unlikely, earthquakes, possibly, or the military incursions of the Imam Ahmad Grung during the Ethiopian Adal War from 1529 to 1543. Notice the soundtrack of budgies in the background. In the 19th century, one of the 3 major royal stelae, only one remained erect, and it's shown in a print called The Obelisk of Axum by Henry Salt. Salt traveled back to England with Captain Thomas Fremantle, and the design of the obelisk at Axum influenced that of the Nelson Monument and other structures in England. At the end of 1935, following the Italian occupation, Italian soldiers moved one of these stelae to Italy. The monolith stele was cut into 5 pieces and transported by truck along the tortuous route between Axum and the port of Massawa, so it makes you question how they were erected in the first place. And it was reassembled and erected on Porta Capena Square in front of the Ministry for Italian Africa. It was officially unveiled on October 28, 1937, to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the March on Rome. In 1947, Italy agreed to return the stele to Ethiopia, along with other looted pieces, such as the Lion of Judah. But what's most intriguing, again, is the sheer scale of them, the fact that they're broken, or at least the largest ones are broken. I think they actually are from a much older era. I think they're pre-cataclysmic in nature. Some of the detail work could have been done much, much later, as we see in places such as Peru and Bolivia and Egypt, where you have massive megalithic structures with carvings done on the surfaces. And it's a great mystery and a place that I would definitely one day like to visit. However, I've heard that travel in Ethiopia is very difficult. There are not many flights. Ground transport is difficult because of the rough terrain. But I just wanted to show you, if you've never heard of these stelae, some people say they look similar in nature to some degree in terms of the recesses to Pumapunku in Bolivia. I don't think there's any kind of direct connection, but it's one of those locations that once you've seen all of the major megalithic sites in the world, again, in places like Petra in Jordan, Egypt, Peru, and Bolivia, that would be an excellent location to go. You can see in this photograph, obviously some reconstruction that was done. That is a tomb entrance, obviously. But this is and look at the very crude wall in the background. Again, what we see in other megalithic sites where you see very rough work that actually is younger than the main structures themselves. So this is Axum in Ethiopia, mysterious, monstrous stelae. So a place to go if you have the resources and you have the time. This is Brian Forster of Hidden Inca Tours. Thank you.